Welcome to the Switch Clicks Podcast, Episode 11, recorded on September 28th, 2020. Today we'll be discussing the details for Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, revealed in trailers and gameplay at the Tokyo Game Show 2020. My name is Dakota, and today I'm joined by Nathan.
Hello.
A returning guest, Angelo.
Hello or something.
And a new guest, Thinkafurr, also known as Christafurr.
Hey. That's me, Thinkafurr, also known as Christafurr. Perfect.
All right,
before we start, I just want to make a quick shout out to my channel artist, Elfspring Art. Go check him out on Instagram, guys. Also, real quick, I just want to also shout out to Kotlol, also known as Joy Charged Gamers. He made his first Zelda theory. Go check it out, guys. Link will probably be in the description down below to both.
Of course, don't forget to subscribe to both of Christopher's channels.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, shout yourself out.
Oh yeah, that too. Well then.
That's some charity.
And if anybody doesn't know who Thinkafurr is, he's a Zelda Theorist YouTuber, and I think he does stream every once in a while too on his second channel.
Yep,
right.
That does happen sometimes. Once in a blood moon.
Ooh.
So yeah, Nathan, let's just get this started.
God.
So Nintendo recently released the second trailer, and they also showcased it at the Tokyo Game Show. What are your thoughts of it, Christopher?
Yeah, look, so they brought a lot of interesting things to the table. So, we got to see more about the champions. We got to see, more about Impa, to be honest. I mean, let's be honest, who isn't excited to see Shadow Clone no Jutsu Impa.
She looks so anime in this.
Yeah, look, not gonna lie, I got a lot of Naruto vibes from that, but
that run animation.
Oh yeah. Insert Naruto run as god. But what I thought was pretty unique and interesting was it confirms that Sheikah slates are like a commonplace item. So the champions have the Sheikah slates, if I remember correctly. Do you guys remember seeing that? Like I remember seeing
Before runes.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it, but I wasn't sure if every champion had one or if it was just getting passed around. Because I feel like there wouldn't be multiple Sheikah slates just laying around Hyrule.
Yeah, I was under the impression that there's only one.
In the clutches of a Blight Ganon, which is where it would be, probably.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, what I think every champion's got one, because how can they pilot a divine beast without one, you know?
True.
You do need one.
Like,
I figured that Zelda just kind of turned on the ignition for him initially.
It's like, oh yeah, let me just start the car for you.
Exactly. But if they were commonplace, you'd think they'd be mentioned in Zelda's journal.
I mean, could you imagine trying to do a hill start on Varnaburus? I don't even know how you do that, guys. Like, what do you just shove one of the legs down like a hill or something? Or maybe that's why one of the statues is broken, you know? Maybe that's the real reason for it. And so that theory NBC came out about why that it was actually because they were trying to hill start Varnaburus.
They lost the Sheikah slate. They had to try and hotwire it.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you join our community Discord server for instant updates and exclusive sneak peeks. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Oh, as for what everyone else thought of the game, you got the nitpicky people who talk about frame rates. I know frame rate in this apparently dips a bit. That's an issue, considering Breath of the Wild wasn't really that smooth a game anyways.
What I think
we can just assume
I reckon
this whole trilogy will dip.
I think they will have a workaround for it. So what they'll probably end up doing is they might still use the same engine, and they might still use the same map assets, but what they probably will do is segment each level into a loadable area, and then it's like it's apart, of that area, but it's not going to load the entire map of Breath of the
It kind of
Wild.
looks like that because freaking gameplay, maps are huge.
Yeah, plus the models,
And they're
like the textures look similar, but it does look downscaled a bit. So I would say that you might see a bit like less lag. To be honest,
maybe.
I think that it might actually have better frame rate, but I guess we won't really know until we see it. The proof is kind of in the pudding at the end of the day.
In terms of gameplay, Dakota caught this the other day, but he found out that some fans were actually mad that this gameplay is nothing like Breath of the Wild.
I think I saw it in a few comments on IGN.
What?
No, it's not Breath of the Wild. What?
Apparently, people are mad. It also goes for this how this game's not the sequel.
All right.
I don't understand where, like, if that's the case, the sequel's gonna have to top off everything that we've seen so far. Right now, Hyrule Warriors, like this Age of Calamity is already looking really good for a game. I don't see how that's bad in a sense. Like, yeah, it's a hack and slash, but also Breath of the Wild. Isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah. Like, I've never been into Hyrule Warriors at all. I've never played a Hyrule Warriors game at all, like even at a friend's house. Not even like a second. But I was looking at this and I was interested in it. I was looking at it and I thought, I could see myself wanting to play this. And then the second trailer came out and I saw Impa and I was like, okay. All right, sold, but still.
Gonna comment on how much hair Impa has, by the way.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. From behind, I thought, holy God, is that Jiraiya? Like, actually, is that Jiraiya? And then you turn around, and it's like, oh my God!
It's like, oh my God!
It's Paya with extra hair.
I mean, that just makes me honestly think that maybe Paya actually really is Impa, like. Because no, seriously. Because like, look, what if she just took an anti-aging rune, went back?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, like seriously,
dude, calm down.
Oh, that's definitely something for a theory.
I was gonna say, are you like recording this yourself to upload as a separate theory video?
Oh, this is a theory video.
Well, it could be. It could be.
Is Paya really Impa?
Really
if that's the case, then who's the old lady we meet in Kakariko Village in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, what if she's just a body double and
this old lady was just pretending to be Impa all this time?
Or maybe we're all wrong. Maybe Impa's just dead.
Well, I mean, that's a potential. I mean,
it's a plot to it. You wouldn't see it coming.
I'm like trying to make a theory with that.
Don't make me make a theory.
I mean, upload Zelda theory. Impa is dead in Majora's Mask or whatever.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot to say about Majora's Mask's lore, but I won't talk about Majora's Mask here. Like, there's just too much, and this is supposed to be about Age of Calamity.
Derailed the entire thing.
Rails talks about the entire Zelda timeline instead.
All right, well, see, what I think about Age of Calamity, it all starts back with Zelda 1, okay? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Let's just go through the entire developmental history of the Legend of Zelda series.
When you get to Ocarina of Time, let me know.
Oh God, it's like he gets back to us, we're all just skeletons.
Oh my gosh.
No, you'll become a skeleton due to all the knowledge I'll drop on you. Yeah, I'll wake up in my bed. Angelo, wake up,
Angelo. Yes.
So some of the stuff that they did show is they did bring in some gameplay elements from Breath of the Wild. Mind you, okay, so I haven't played the original Hyrule Warriors, so I don't know what's different. But they showed that you can there's some looting mechanics. So people think, okay, there must be some cooking or crafting mechanics in the game.
I didn't actually see that part of it.
I think we're ignoring the elephant in the room, guys. What about breakable weapons?
Hopefully not.
Oh, no.
I hope. I really hope not.
I think there is breakable weapons.
The breakable weapons, that means you can loot that people are gonna.
Because there was an animation that like the thing popped up on the right and it said that he picked up a sword. So
there isn't. Well, I mean,
okay.
that happens in the original Hyrule Warriors as well. You pick up a bunch of new weapons and you could smith them together to make better weapons.
they would have to make it. They would have to make weapons last longer if they did have it.
I agree there, and I think that there'll
enemies
definitely be some reference to durability. Maybe not necessarily in the weapons, but in like the Sheikah Slate or something. Maybe the Sheikah Slate can like pull a Master Sword, can't abuse its power or whatever.
Well, I mean, it is. I don't know if it's exactly a special move or something. It's probably an item, but
It looks like something you just chain together with combos.
yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of Hyrule Total War?
Nope.
Like,
kind of. It's like a mod of some game.
yeah, it's a mod of one of the Total War games. But anyway, the whole attraction to that game is to watch, large scale battles of the universe of Legend of Zelda. Like with a game like Breath of the Wild, the whole story, when you look at the tapestry, right? You see all these units surrounding Calamity Ganon. And you see like this huge giant epic battle, and us as Zelda fans, we would have thought, oh, okay, what would that battle have looked like? But I guess with a game like Hyrule Warriors, one of the things that I think I'd like to emphasize is that you actually get to insert as the player into the battle itself. Yeah, you actually get a legitimate large-scale war within a Zelda game. No one to this day in any of the Zelda games from memory has actually ever gotten to visibly participate in one of the historical large-scale wars. Like you had Hyrule's Bloody History, the the Hyrulean Civil War directly before Ocarina of Time. That's just an example, and that's why there's all those theorized Stalfurs that rise in the heat of the night, so to speak. But
the first ever time where we actually get something canon and actually experience some big event.
Yes, a big giant war to actually participate in. Like no one ever actually got to participate, I think anyway, in any of the historical wars. This is set 100 years back, right? So it's probably that battle that we saw on the tapestry, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
Tapestry.
Well, wasn't the battle on the tapestry 10,000 years ago when Calamity?
Yeah, actually, that was 10,000 years ago.
That'd be a good setting for a Hyrule Warriors game. I'd buy that.
Oh yeah. Plus,
or just a full Zelda game.
What I want to know is why the heck is the champion on the tapestry red-haired? I mean, if
I remember.
Yeah, I watched that
because he's a Zonai.
He brought that up.
No, actually,
that up. Or
I'll tell you why I think it is. I think it's actually because the first champion was a Gerudo. That's why.
Oh, are you bringing up that NBC theory?
No, wait.
Ganondorf, Gerudo, Link Boy. That's
there was a theory somewhere that
I don't know. I don't know if I'm referencing his, but like when I look at the tapestry, I'm like, it's totally a Gerudo because every 100 years, according to the lore in which was it, Four Swords Adventures. That's right. You see a Gerudo basically say, hey, every now and then we got this nice guy that comes into our lines and he looks after us. It's literally a benevolent champion every 100 years. It's just that every now and then he turns bad. But
well, wait, because doesn't Breath of the Wild say that the Gerudo haven't had a male birth in a very long time? I'm pretty sure they don't say 10,000 years, but I figured that was because, they haven't had a male birth because Ganondorf hasn't died because he's, somewhere.
Tried up.
So how could the original champion be a Gerudo if, you know, they're fighting the Calamity, and Ganondorf is probably already under Hyrule Castle.
So what I want to say to that is,
Unless Ganondorf is the hero.
Yeah. So look, what I wanted to say is Ganondorf. What if you know, big what if, but Ganondorf is actually a playable character in the upcoming game. And
holy crap, please.
Actually, we find out why Calamity Ganon even exists in the first place. And
I hope so.
Maybe, big maybe, but like maybe he's not such a bad guy. Maybe
dude, his eyes were literally the malice eyes. Do you think he's gonna stand up and be like, "Oh hey Link, I've just been sitting under this castle for over 10,000 years with this weird hand thing on my chest, and you know, even though my eyes are visibly burning with hatred and rage, you want to go out to the milk bar?"
I mean, if I had like spent like half my life trying to build an epic physique and gain power and rule over a race, and then only to find myself imprisoned for, I don't know, whatever reason, I probably wouldn't particularly, you know, have a good bedside manner when I first wake up. But like, just saying. But you know, maybe look, just back to my original point, he's a playable character, and we find out, you know, why Calamity Ganon actually even exists, and how Ganondorf caused him to, you know, happen in the first place.
For
like,
everything, yeah.
What if it's you know,
maybe hear me out here. Conspiracy theory. There's a big old hand on his chest. Okay, it's pulling all the malice up, and that hand is what's creating the Calamity, huh? And the Ganondorf under the castle is really the hero from 10,000 years ago, and it's all just a conspiracy that the kings of yore in Hyrule came up with to keep the cycle going for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've often thought the kings of Hyrule, they're just a bit too sus, a bit too greedy. Even in Wind Waker, you sort of see that. Like, there's a disagreement between the king and the Gerudo's leader, and he admits, like, I'm arrogant, okay, and I was too stubborn to really, you know, find a middle ground with this dude. So here we are, and now I'm gonna make a wish, and that wish is not going to restore Hyrule. Instead, we're just gonna continue in a sea of, I guess, despair, because that
wish
stubborn.
Isn't gonna be to go back and fix all my mistakes. No, it's just I'm gonna let all those people die.
Situation. Yep.
That doesn't sound too far fetched if you think about.
I mean, my theory
stated Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be.
I mean, who is Ganondorf's father anyway? Like, okay,
Ganondorf.
Oh God, down the rabbit hole.
Probably not.
What if it's the King of Hyrule? Question mark. You know.
What if King Rome is Ganondorf's father, but from like a different timeline? Okay, like he went back in time. Like he drew the Master Sword at one point because like he's Link from Ocarina of Time. Okay, and then he went back and he had Ganondorf. It all makes sense now. I can't believe we didn't see this before.
Okay, so like,
why does that make sense?
Why? Okay,
because I said so.
The way of life for Gerudo is, you know, they go out to seek a mate, and then they have children, and then they raise them back in the thing. So,
back in the thing,
back in the village. I mean to say, the words they elude me. Yes, the town. And you know, maybe, just maybe, from you know, another time, another life before the King of Hyrule was a king, he made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
That mistake was, you know, Ganondorf. But anyway,
it's a little dark for Nintendo, don't you think?
What are you on about, man? Nintendo is all about dark, man. Like,
well, yeah, but I feel like, you know, selling a game that has like, oh, the king, you know, made a mistake, he's Ganondorf's father, you know, I feel like that's just a little bit,
to be fair,
you know, past Nintendo's like line.
To be fair, Age of Calamity is a game that showcases the champions dying.
True. I feel like death in video games is taken less seriously than something like that. Like if I like, I wouldn't let my child play like a violent game like Grand Theft Auto, but if like let him play Breath of the Wild, you know, like they murder a bunch of bokoblins who, you know, who knows, maybe you could have gone and made friends with them. Probably not, but you just kill them in their sleep. You'll never know. Maybe
what if
they poof into dust and it's all funny, but like then the plot gets heavy with Ganondorf like crying and he's like, I was the king's son. Like I was the king's bastard son, and like
yes, that's it. It's just straight up Game of Thrones. Like they just, I'm what was the name of that guy? Game of Thrones. How could I forget? Jon Snow. What if he's just the Jon Snow of the family? Okay, and Loki, he was the next in line, and just, you know, nobody knew it, and those that did know it didn't want it to be a thing. Okay, and maybe that's what the whole point of the whole battle is.
It's a little dark for Nintendo, I feel.
Oh, come on, man. There's so many.
Showing people and things die is fine, but getting a little emotionally heavy is too much for the kids, let me tell you.
Dude, most of the time, Nintendo tells way heavier stories in their games without actually confirming them.
Okay, like, yeah, it's true. But if they do something like that, it's not going to be like, oh, this big like plot twist reveal. Oh, Ganondorf is King Rome's like son. It'd be like alluded to. It wouldn't just be.
Yeah, it'd probably be like a weird diary. It'd probably be some strange diary entry or some.
I was born today.
Statue.
The king was my father.
Now, if they did any of that, do you think that we'll have maybe some voice acting from Ganondorf?
Oh, I just realized that we're gonna hear that we might hear Ganondorf's voice for the first time.
I mean,
and maybe like the pre-Calamity Ganondorf, how he looks.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'm sure we'll get to see him unshriveled as well as shriveled. Won't buy the game. If Ganondorf is playable, won't buy the game unless I get to play him as a piece of jerky. But
what flavor of beef jerky is Ganondorf?
Jalapeno. Or teriyaki.
Spicy.
That's for another theory.
What flavor is Ganondorf? But I'm hoping that his voice when he's all shriveled will sound like, you know, like.
Ooh, geez.
like
it'll sound like a
enter my cave. And he'll sound like that one shriveled up lady in the wheelchair from SpongeBob who wants chocolate. Chocolate. That lady. He'll sound like that.
Oh, yeah.
They're selling chocolates.
That could be like that. It could be like that. But guys, this will also be the first game where, you know, Ganon wins.
True.
Wins.
Well, technically not with the multiple timelines and
oh yeah,
but
that all occurs
84 different timelines that are all canon now.
Yeah, but that occurs outside of gameplay. Like you don't see Link from the Hero of Time lose to Ganon to create the downfall timeline.
Well, do we think that we're gonna see like Link and Posse just get their face kicked in and lose at the end of Breath of the Wild 2? I know they said this is gonna be like darker than Majora's Mask, but is it gonna be dark enough to have the main gaggle of heroes lose? Or is this just some sick prank? They lose, and at the end it just says, "Sorry, this is the last Zelda games. Quit asking."
You died.
You died.
You know what? I think it's all gonna end with straight up all of them just meeting a terrible fate. Like it's just gonna be, you know, the Happy Mask salesman laugh at the very end of the game, and then you've met with a terrible fate, and that's it.
When the podcast goes from talking about Age of Calamity to Breath of the Wild 2 over the course of like 20 minutes.
Oh my god.
But okay, just maybe just bring it back.
Let's bring it back a bit.
Bring it back to Age of Calamity.
You're gonna have to cut out like 45 minutes of dialogue.
No, I will cut this out.
On that topic,
top quality content. Look. So a champion that I'm definitely down to see is King Gaines Dorfin himself. You know, the giant king of the Zora people.
I completely
that
forgot that was a
depends
character.
But
I mean,
Dude, I did
yeah.
too. I just kind of see him as part of the wall whenever I go there.
He is literally that big. Like you can miss him. He is that wide that you
You
probably
can't
might
miss him, yet
mistake
somehow
for-
I forgot he existed.
That's just
No,
the final boss battle.
Like he's
It's
just so
ironic.
big.
Dude, no, he's the final boss. He gets like possessed by by Ganondorf, and you have to fight him.
Oh, that could be.
scary. That'd be really scary.
I mean,
Would be
look,
scary. He can
is
like roll
almost-
at you. He's just a Hinox, but with a different skin.
Yeah, basically, he's a Hinox-sized Zora, basically.
Same
And-
attack patterns and animations.
What I want to see is like it's almost like the Incredible Hulk in a way. You just get to run around punching and throwing things, but they freeze
Oh, I
upon
see what you're saying.
impact.
Dude, that'd be sick.
And yeah, exactly. Like he could just punch things and they freeze and then shatter, and that would be
could
really
an
cool.
interesting one.
Definitely.
So for some reason, I
also-
thought we were still talking about Breath of the Wild 2, and I was starting to get highly confused.
No Breath of the Wild 2. You gotta get your head out of Breath. You gotta get your head out of that one, Matt. Talking about the prequel, not the sequel.
Yes. My apologies.
Oh, and speaking of playable characters, how about Sidon?
Yeah,
Sidon.
Sidon.
I think we went
That's
over
baby
this in the
Sidon.
last one.
Oh my god!
I said I
no.
wouldn't buy the game if Baby Sidon wasn't playable.
No.
So I reckon Baby Sidon might be playable, but I also think that would probably just be a time skip. They could just do the classic Nintendo time skip or anime
Maybe.
time skip, if you will. Or maybe he's like, oh, what this thing? And then touches a Sheikah Slate and then gets the reverse age rune. And
Oh,
he's just-
Gets the old
Suddenly-
man room.
suddenly he's swole and
Maybe-
smoldering, and he just goes around like.
Maybe he's
Basically-
just like a bonus character, not really important to the lore. Oh, speaking
yeah.
of that,
that's literally more than half
That-
of all the Hyrule Warriors characters in the original.
yeah, right. That reminds me though. What do you guys think about how Age of Calamity like completely breaks some of the lore?
Okay, how does it break the lore?
How?
Not
Like
necessarily
the Sheikah Towers like appearing,
Oh, the Sheikah Tower
as well as like
Tower?
Link not having the Master Sword and only getting it like partway through the game is heavily
Like
implied.
this might take place like way before all the
I-
memories we see.
Well, doesn't it say that he
And
gets it
there's
when
like-
he's like 12 years old and somewhere?
Oh, that was
No,
right.
he drew it at 12. No one ever actually confirmed if he had it continually. He
Why would
just
he put
drew
it
it
back?
and then went YOLO with it.
Why would you put it back? It's like you draw it and you're like, oh, cool, I've got the Blade of Evil's Bane. Now, if anything bad happens, I can save the kingdom. Well, better just leave it in this forest next to this giant talking freaking tree. Okay.
Maybe the tree was like, bruh, I don't know if you're ready yet. You know, too much power.
Maybe he was like, if you don't want to get sealed in time for 7 years, you better put that down, boy.
One of the
Yeah,
it's like, sorry.
on trial.
Yeah, but like maybe he just drew it as a kid because he was curious. He just wanted to
He was curious. He was
play
just
with the
around.
sword.
He was in
Yeah,
the
he's just
area.
like-
He was in the area, wanted to play with the Master Sword, as kids do.
I mean, it's the Lost Woods. One does not simply just be in the area.
It's like, oh,
But,
I was
like-
near. I thought I'd drop by, play with the Master Sword.
Yeah, like maybe he was like one of the travelers. You know how there are so many would-be travelers. They're like, oh, I want the Master Sword. I'm gonna be the hero.
Oh, yeah.
And
And then they
like, maybe
die.
as a
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, they died, but maybe because he's the chosen hero, he actually can make his way there as a kid.
He-
And then,
You can actually
He
tell which
draws the
direction
Master
Saria's
Sword.
song's coming from.
yeah, and he actually draws the Master Sword, and then he has a play with it. He does something good, but then has like a harrowing lesson in what it means to actually be a hero. And then
He accidentally
gets
kills his dad with
told-
it.
Well, where is his dad?
Exactly.
True.
All we know is his
Learned
dad
that?
was a knight. Kills
Yeah.
his dad with the Master Sword by accident, and he puts it back.
What if
and
his
vows
dad
never to
dies
use
in
it
the
again.
battle?
Better yet, what if his dad?
What if Link's dad's playable?
What if
Oh,
Link's
what if his dad is
Here's a
playable?
thought. What if Link's dad was also a chosen hero? And what happened was
Well,
he actually was a squire, and he got the sword for his father, and then his father went to battle with it. But sort of in that in between of fetching the sword, he ends up, going and fighting like a guardian or something, and then deflecting a guardian laser with a pot lid, and then getting recognition for it.
That also explains why he's not fully
They take
ready.
the Master Sword from his dad, and they're like, "No, this is your son's now."
Yeah, pretty much.
You lost your Master Sword privileges. Your son outmatched you.
Your son
no more Master Sword for
laser
you.
with a pot lid. I don't see you doing stuff like that.
He's better than you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, look, I reckon he was a squire for his father until he fetched the sword, and then for some time, maybe he was separated from the sword, and then they decided, you know what, you are the chosen hero, so you should have the sword. Or maybe there was a ceremony that he had to go through. But, to go through that, he had to get the sword.
Maybe he wasn't the full chosen hero, though.
Well,
you gotta consider the rusted Master Sword. Like, you gotta consider how much damage it took.
Yeah, sure. No real hero would let the Master Sword get that damage.
Only seemingly causes it to lose power. Breath of the Wild.
Maybe the Master Sword just doesn't like Link.
What, Fi doesn't like Link?
Maybe he's like, this is the worst incarnation. Put me down. Your hands are sweaty.
Ugh, your hands are causing rust and corrosion to my hilt. Put me down.
Put me down this instant.
Then Link dies, and then suddenly Fi's like, hold
Feels
me,
bad.
somebody.
It's like, somebody, please. Well, isn't in the Japanese translations of Link's Sheikah Slate entries, doesn't he like specifically say that he feels like the sword is happy to have him back?
I don't remember, but maybe that's true.
He says like, I'm glad to have the blade back, and I feel like it is too, or something like that. I don't know. They're very first person, and I like to read them and be like, haha, Link is human.
Link has emotions.
Link is a person with feelings and a family who are dead now.
Hawks.
Who he'll never remember because he can only regain his memory through pictures, apparently. Very
well. Damn, it got depressing fast.
What if he just dipping back into the sequel, but what if he actually gets to see his family?
What if he dies? He dies in the end, and then he sees his ghost dad, and he looks like Bill Cosby, and he's like, "Come on, Link, time to go." Also, I should explain: Ghost Dad's a movie starring Bill Cosby.
Gee.
I'm not just thinking about Bill Cosby, I swear.
Look, well, I guess I'm under the impression that we'll see a restored Hyrule back in time in the sequel.
Maybe.
I want to see a restored Hyrule, but I don't even know if I want time travel because we have Age of Calamity. We get to see what we get to see, and I feel like that's what they're going to leave it as. I feel like Zelda needs to stop with time travel because that's what started this whole timeline fiasco in the first place.
We don't want any more splits.
It's like, no, just stop. I don't care.
I think what will happen is they will find a way to travel specifically within that timeline, right? And essentially reverse what happened. But
just take back literally everything. Well, then I just feel useless. Like, why did I go and stop the calamity if I could just go back in time and stop it from happening at the get-go?
Like, there is the way. Okay, so the way that could have actually happened is with the gates of time, and
which were deactivated.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
What if we have to find the gates of time again, and then travel?
Like finding out how to activate them, say.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe Pyre's role as a Sheikah will come back because Impa had a role with the Gates of Time, and
suggesting it replaces Impa.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe there's a good reason why she looks so much like Impa in Age of Calamity. Because she is Impa.
Because she is Impa. Spoiler alert. I call it right now. Revealed in Breath of the Wild 2 or somewhere in Age of Calamity. Same character.
Oh, geez.
It's like, witness
Like, what if-
protection, but she's really bad at it because she just stays next to her freaking.
Look, ultimately though, like I feel like the Age of Calamity is like the whole point of Age of Calamity. It's right down in its very name. It's an Age of Calamity. The whole point is to actually watch everything crash and burn and fail, and that's the whole point of it. It won't even have a bittersweet ending to it. Like if you want to see
just
what
sad,
happens
yeah.
next, just play Breath of the Wild. You know, you'll see it. You'll know that
and-
Link's fine. You'll wake up.
And then we have the sequel, and it's the first Zelda
really
trilogy, I think.
open-ended.
Yeah, but it's like Link will wake up, right? Like he's gonna wake up,
Right? Yeah,
right?
like
Man.
Link.
like
Dirk starts bawling.
there's a reason that they made Age of Calamity a prequel and released it before Breath of the Wild, is because, well, why would you? I mean, you could leave the game on a cliffhanger for like a whole like year and a half or 2 years, but that would kind of be, well, I think Nintendo.
I think I'd be
even had
mad if
the
they
limit-
started off a Zelda trilogy with Hyrule
suggesting this-
Warriors.
Yeah,
Are
Yeah.
you suggesting that Age of Calamity will actually give us hints towards Breath of the Wild 2?
yeah.
Possibly, because we
Yeah.
get to see where it all goes down. Maybe there's some like event that happened that we just haven't gotten to see that's like foreshadowing or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Maybe
the characters in
like a
Breath of the Wild.
sound or like a yell or a
God.
scream. Maybe.
I'm entirely down to believe that Age of Calamity has got
Very
lore
important.
in it that points towards possibilities for the sequel. I'm inclined to believe that there might actually even be maybe even a bonus mission of some sort. Who
Where you
knows?
fight
That-
Ganondorf.
Oh, like a final mission that actually takes place right before the start of the sequel.
yeah.
Ooh, I don't know about
Ooh.
that. I don't know about that because the
even a
Hyrule
bonus
Warriors
mission.
game is all like huge battles and stuff. And if it was starting right before the sequel, then it'd just kind of be Link and Zelda, which
I mean,
it could
like,
it
what do you
could be a
look-
nice change of pace and have the player on his toes and be like, "What's going on? Why is it
What
just
if it's
me and
like-
Zelda?" And then it's
But what if
revealed that
it's,
this is
Doesn't
100
necessarily
years
have to
later.
have that many enemies though when you think about it.
What if you just
Mhm.
play through the cutscene that we've already seen?
What if
Go in
that's
a
all?
cave.
Yeah. What if you
Yeah.
actually get to play through the cutscene when Link dies? Like, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, where, the
Oh,
haven't
friggin-
played it, you
there we go.
basically watch your favorite character die.
Just remember, everyone dies.
Yeah.
The game ends
Spoiler alert for Age of Calamity, everyone. They die in the end.
Including that
Yeah.
baby guardian that we'd never heard of until recently.
Yeah, so
Pretty
You
what
know
are
that
you
little
thinking
egg
of that?
guardian?
What
He's
is it?
probably dead unless he appears in Breath of the
Oh.
Wild too.
What are your thoughts on it, by the way?
I
On
don't
the egg.
even
the egg.
understand. Like I looked at it and I was like, okay, so you're supposed to just be like the cute companion character. Cool. I bet they hadn't even thought of you when they made Breath of the Wild 1, but how are you going to die? And if you don't die, are you going to be in the sequel? Is what I was
Here's
thinking.
a thought. It's actually got a cuckoo piloting it.
Oh
Like,
no, an Uku.
that's... Oh.
Oh no.
that's
When
that's-
you crack it open, ha 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 ha! You found me. Here's my poop.
Oh
no.
god, there's a
There's
Korok
There's
in it.
another one. PTSD.
See, I just make an omelet with it.
Jeez. Cracks it open. I really want some breakfast today. Yeah. Oh,
Chocolate
dear.
Like no,
Yeah.
dude, I'd be like, you're going right in that pan.
A strange looking chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, you're going to go in that pan with like more force now, just because of how angry you make me.
Insert face into frying pan.
Step 1, insert face into frying pan.
Step 2, turn heat up to max.
No, this is gonna get worse if we keep talking about it.
Oh, geez. All right, moving on. Guys, what do we think about Zelda playable? So, like, what's she gonna have besides her Sheikah Slate? Do you think?
Her legs.
I mean, is it gonna
don't
be
know,
like
kick
Dragon Ball
things.
Z? Is she gonna have like epic goddess blasts or like?
Okay, what I think is that the very last battle of the game will probably be Zelda playable with her sealing powers, and it'll be similar to the Dark Beast Ganon fight at the end,
like
but
the ball of
more
light and stuff?
overpowered. It'll probably be like an anime fight with Zelda and her sealing powers and all that. But
Here's the thing,
overall,
though,
with her being playable, she'll probably just kick things. She'll just freeze them and like kick them in the face.
I'm kind of inclined on thinking that she might have weapons, just like the stuff that you can buy in Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, you gave me a really sick idea.
Oh,
So the Master Sword was originally the Goddess Sword, which was originally wielded by Hylia. And maybe the reason Link doesn't have the Master Sword for a good old while is because Zelda has it.
oh. So Zelda doesn't really know how to.
Zelda doesn't really know how to stab things, I don't think.
Based on two.
I mean,
cutscenes that
stabbing
we've
is
seen.
pretty simple. You kind of
which
just insert pointy
is a
end
plot
into
point we're
something.
covering in our fan fiction that I wrote, that only I wrote. Anyway.
About what Zelda stabbing things, or
I mean, Zelda will stab a thing, yeah.
God,
aha,
so brutal. If that
yes,
happens.
I'll leave that one there. But Zelda with a Master Sword, guys.
Better
It'd be cool to see her pick it up.
Ladle. Sure.
It'd be cool to see Zelda like pick up the Master Sword, but I don't know if I want to see Zelda charging through a horde of Koblins, slaughtering them as she goes, mercilessly just cutting them down. I don't know if I want to see Zelda doing that.
I don't know. Like, I want to see. I'd love to see her doing it, but like wielding it in a really clumsy way, like a very untrained way. And
Every
then,
time she swings, she falls over.
And then there's like a cutscene where Link is basically training in the Knights Academy for a bit, and then she's like, "YOLO, I'm gonna spar with you," and then she gets schooled for a bit, and then there's a time skip, and then sure enough, she can actually wield it with some proficiency. In the other Hyrule Warriors games, she does have a sword. It looks more like, I don't know, like a saber or something, but
like a rapier.
Yeah, rapier. That's the one I'm thinking of. It looks a lot like a rapier.
But the Zelda and Hyrule Warriors look so much more like, well, for lack of a better term, a warrior. Zelda in Breath of the Wild is just this kind of like nerdy techie girl who just so happens to have the blood of the goddess. I don't really want to see her wield a blade and be like, haha, I'm a sword master that's going to stab you in your throat or whatever. Fear me.
I don't think it'll be like that. I think it will be like oh my god, how do I do this thing? Kind of way. Like it would be comical.
If she's gonna use it, I want it to be comical and I want her to suck at it. I don't want her to really know how to use it that well. Because I feel like it's not really in her character, at least with how it is at that point in time. Like maybe post Breath of the Wild, she'd be more open to learning how to use a sword. But I feel like pre Breath of the Wild, she would be like, I don't want to know.
Here's a thought. Thought.
Thought?
Yeah, THORT. What is thought?
I don't understand.
I think I just had a Jekyll Hyde moment with Christafurr. But anyway. Look, so what if the reason she holds resentment towards Link and why she's like, I don't need you, is because actually she can fight with a sword, and maybe she's just been, I guess, overlooked physically?
What if Zelda's like better than Link?
Yeah, what if? What if she's the one who actually taught Link in the first place?
Dude, what if Zelda like developed the Flurry Rush?
There's one memory from Breath of the Wild that kind of retcons the idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know the one where she was at the bazaar?
That one.
Being chased by Yuga. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
She didn't really do anything to fight back necessarily. She's just kind of running.
I mean, I got the funny feeling that maybe she's so... I mean, training can... How do I put this? As someone who's experienced with, like training in swords or in martial arts even, I can say that, if you don't practice for a while, sticking to cardio can be definitely a good choice. Like, it's often risky to even try engaging if you haven't like actively practiced. So I mean, in Zelda's case, maybe she got some training for a bit, or maybe the whole point of that cutscene was to just, illustrate the point. Like, hey, it doesn't matter who you are, you always need a friend to watch your back. And, maybe that's the whole point here, is to just show Link in this particular moment as being useful for once in his godforsaken duty of protecting this particular princess who can, on quote, look after herself.
Does seem like a really good point.
Well, wait, if Zelda knew how to fight, why would she have cowered from the Yiga who were trying to kill her?
Probably because she was outnumbered, like how many to 1?
3 to 1 for sure.
3 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, like look,
I don't know. She
survival.
She didn't really look like she knew. I don't know. She was just kind of. I don't know. Just by like her posture and the way she moved, it didn't really look like.
They're Yiga. They're not like Bokoblins and Moblins.
That's fair.
They're trained assassins. They're not like they're not clumsy buffoons like the Bokoblins. I'm inclined to believe that look, chances of survival go down drastically the more you increase the numbers that you deal with. So even if it's just like one person with a spear versus of survival do go down. You add a third person to that, you add a fourth person, you're probably not going to walk out of there without either nearly dying, or being maimed in some way.
Fair. But I mean,
especially if
she didn't even try to fight back at all. Like when she was cornered and she tripped, she didn't even try and get up. She just kind of crawled away and was like, "Please, don't stick me in the face."
That was just the final part of a fight.
Oh yeah, maybe she killed like 8 of them before that, and Link was late because he needed his coffee or something.
Yeah, probably. Maybe he's just being his like a useless squire or something. Maybe that's
maybe he was like eating a carrot. And or maybe he was like gnawing on Bokoblin guts, and then Zelda called him on a Sheikah Slate and was like, "Hey, I'm doing your job. Get down here."
Yeah, like what? Look, Link strikes me as like someone who he trains a lot, he eats a lot, he sleeps a lot, he lazes a lot. But if you throw him into a fight, he'll absolutely wreck. It's just there's that little bit of it's just that little bit of like laissez-faire attitude about him that puts people at risk. Maybe that was part of his personality that we really didn't get to see much of. But
didn't it say that his personality kind of changed after he woke up from the Shrine of Worship, because he suddenly didn't have all those burdens on him anymore?
Yeah,
and he's so much more of like a fun kind of dude. Like he says things like, "What you doing to people?" and like, he makes seal puns in Gerudo Town, but Link before that would have just stayed silent. So I feel like the Link that feels, pressured by the world with all the eyes upon him wouldn't just be a lazy, fat slob who doesn't do anything, who doesn't protect the princess. I feel like he would probably be better, or at least more like paranoid over protecting the princess at that time, because he's like, the entire kingdom is watching me. And now he's only like, the ghost of Zelda's half-mom Gerudo lady's watching me and will come and hurt me if I don't protect her. But there's no kingdom to protect.
What if it's like this? So losing his memory simply took away the stress of what people think of him, but deep down he was already like that. Maybe he cared, right, about what people thought. But then what happened is that in the midst of pursuing, actually becoming a competent knight, which does require, an element of rest to actually grow. It's the same with anyone who works out and trains. You need to rest to grow. You don't get stronger from training. You provide the stimulus to grow, and you get stressed. You get stressed a lot from your training. So you get really tired. You need rest. Maybe he just trains way too much, like the Goku situation where the dude just eats, trains, sleeps, eats, trains, sleeps. So what if
probably could have been exhausted?
Well, we did see in that one memory where he killed like 4 Lionels in like
Let's be honest,
a
that's
crap
probably-
ton of
that's probably-
bokoblins.
Probably
Unless
during
Zelda did all that
Age of
behind the
Calamity.
scenes.
Probably during Age of Calamity times.
Oh
When
yeah, see that was like a snapshot from
Zelda
Age of
started
Calamity right there.
Yeah, and guys, you see Princess Zelda using her time freeze ability in
yeah,
the
that's
Age of
true.
Calamity tease on a Lionel. And is that in a Sheikah room? I actually can't. Let me blow that
It
image
was.
up.
I think it was stasis.
Stace. I don't really. I just see the bomb appearing in that image, but I'm not
So,
sure.
Oh
I
wait,
see-
wait. Are you talking about the latest thing or the original trailer?
So
Latest trailer.
I'll share the image with you guys. Let me copy it. I'll drop it into the chat.
Basically,
come on.
she's using stasis plus on some
Yeah.
Lionel, but it doesn't look. It doesn't look.
It's not letting me
slate.
drop it from the document into the chat. But yeah, if you scroll into the document, whoops, I copied it into the header. Anyway, in the document, I've got a picture of basically Princess Zelda, and she is freezing a Lionel in either that's Zora's domain.
Yeah.
That's
Zora's
totally
domain.
Zora's domain. Yeah. So
Is it? Are you talking about that one thing from the original reveal trailer?
Yeah, I
Probably,
think that's in the
yeah.
reveal trailer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just the stasis rune because I swear I saw like gold chains and stuff around it. Like when you
Yeah.
definitely
It does
phase out
have
your
gold
stasis.
chains in the screenshot.
And isn't she like actually holding the Sheikah slate?
Yeah, she's holding
was.
her Sheikah slate in that one, and
It's probably stasis. Then I think it's safe
Yeah.
to assume it's stasis.
she's gonna probably use and abuse stasis heaps in the game. But what I'm trying to say though is perhaps we actually get to see that cutscene, and we actually get to play that cutscene as Link, and
When Zelda
we get to
swoops
see.
in and kills everyone.
Possibly, but that also begs the question: how much of Age of Calamity is going to take place before the Calamity?
Well,
Will the end of the game just be during the Calamity, or will the whole game be during the Calamity,
it's a bit
or
of
at
a
least like
both.
half of it? Because I feel like enough battles and stuff happened during the Calamity that you could make at least half of the game after Calamity
Judging by the
Ganon
trailer, it's kind of
popped
half
up.
and half. Think about it.
What about the fact that we see Urbosa using in what was it called? The Flurry Rush ability, right? Which basically is a time slow. So you see Urbosa doing a time slow basically, or
That
a
might just be a
Flurry
game
Rush as we all
mechanic.
know it. But I don't know. It gives me the inclination because we see this in game. We see in game for Breath of the Wild, Link just collects the powers of all the champions, basically, and also the rune abilities of that everyone else has. And I'm kind of inclined to think, well, what if we see Link's first character progression, his like initial build up as a champion, and he starts off by learning the Flurry Rush from Urbosa. He then
I always assumed that was like his champion ability.
yeah, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe
Maybe it
Urbosa
wasn't.
just was super fast because she's lightning quick because she has lightning
I
powers.
hate you.
And maybe it's just the excitation of the electrons in his synapses that causes him to move so fast. You know, like just to throw some science in there. Like maybe he gains control a little bit of some lightning powers there, and that's why he's a little bit quicker, and so he learns Flurry Rush.
Learns it from Urbosa.
Urbosa. I mean, she's pretty swole, bro. Like, you know,
That's just
so
like
she could
that. That'd just be like
Urbosa.
the nickname you'd give her if you were like best friends.
And you know, you would gym buddies like Urbosa, dude.
Yo, what's
pass
up,
me that
bro?
barbell,
Or
dude.
should I say Urbosa?
My
Oh
God.
god. Next minute, you get a dumbbell.
And then
thrown
she
at
would
you.
probably like hit you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
we
can
all
imagine
agree
that.
she'd hurt you for doing that.
Probably would. But Yeah, what if anyway, back to what I was saying. What if we see the first arc of Link's character progression where basically we all see him collect the powers of the champions for the first time? I mean, remember how Rivali's like, "But can you do this?" Swivels back in his chair and flies up into the air. You know, like he actually questions Link and says, "Well, can you, fly up?" I don't think you can fly up.
I don't think he was taking that seriously. I think he was like just trying to be like, I'm better than you. Can you do this?
Yeah, I know, right? But then,
I don't think he was like legit asking like, can you?
Yeah, I know. Like he was taking the mick. But Link does collect the powers of the champions in Breath of the Wild. So what if in Age of Calamity he was going around collectively trying to get, the abilities of the other champions. And he got up to Rivali. Yeah, pretty much. He got up to Rivali and Rivali's like, "Bruh, stop copying me." Exactly. Like, what if that?
And that's when they have their duel.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's where he learned how to do his bow flurry rush.
Oh yeah, his. I don't really buy any of that, but that kind of weirdly makes sense that he learned the flurry rush from Urbosa because Urbosa was quick as lightning, whatever,
and progressed and
sword techniques and stuff, and then he learned the bullet time from Rivali and his wind thingies.
Like, guys, look at Urbosa even, okay? She's just a Gerudo version of Link. Seriously. Long flowing red hair, has a charged up spin attack, has a shield and sword. She might as well be Link.
She knows how to perform a perfect shield bash for one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Down time.
Guys, maybe just like young Impa is Paya, Urbosa is Link.
That's actually are you reading my list of scripts I've got going, bro? I don't remember linking you that.
I've just got theories in my blood, I guess. That's the way Link had to originally get into Gerudo Town. He just became Urbosa.
Was the first
That's
hero.
Like his old. Maybe Urbosa's the hero from 10,000 years ago on the tapestry.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Maybe Urbosa's King Rome's bastard son.
Oh god.
That's too far.
Nothing Urbosa.
Too far.
Way too far.
Oh god. Oh no. But what if she knew Zelda's mother, right? And we know that the Sheikah have an anti-aging rune. Well, I don't think she'd need one because Gerudo people are exceptionally long-lived. But then, okay, maybe she wouldn't be able to live for 10,000 years, but maybe because Gerudo are long-lived, maybe, the longevity of the Gerudo coupled with, an aging rune of some sort, an anti-aging rune, she was there 10,000 years ago to seal Calamity Ganon.
I don't know if I believe that.
That's a bit of a stretch, but
it's a pretty big stretch.
Maybe she's a descendant related.
Yeah, that's possible.
In some way.
Yeah, maybe she is a descendant. Maybe that's why she looks kit-wise so much like a hero, like the chosen hero.
Think of it like
sword,
this, though.
Shield.
The only champion that uses the same
Sheikah anti-aging rune worked so well, then for one thing, Urbosa's kind of horrible for not cluing in the royal family about where the guardians and divine beasts were and just letting them search for them. And just watching from her armchair and being like, haha, it's a little bit to the left, but they'll never know that.
She did that purposely.
For one thing, that's kind of really mean of her.
Or maybe that was the point. Maybe she thought it's probably a bad idea.
If they had the anti-aging room and it worked, and they knew how to use it and it worked that well, then why was King Rome an old man? You'd think you'd keep your king young and vitalized.
Think about it.
Maybe he refused it. That seemes like something that he'd do.
Remember Skyward Sword, the entire story of it?
No.
They could have physically could have told Zelda and Link like how all the events could play out. They didn't. They did that for some apparent reason, and that was because they want the prophecy to play out by itself. What if that was the case?
Yeah, but there's not really a prophecy here. They're just like, everybody brace for the coming hurricane or whatever.
Hey, there was Tapestry. Remember?
That's true. Yeah.
Was the prophecy?
Still,
what if they were doing?
I feel like Urbosa wouldn't do that.
But
Nathan, let me see if I've interpreted what you're saying correctly. So you're saying the tapestry shows it may not necessarily be like a set in stone prophecy, but it's sort of a blueprint, right? Like, if you want to live, survive, then do this. If you don't, we're all dead. So
like, you can't intervene.
Yeah,
but then they failed anyway.
What happens though is that people screw up and they don't follow the what was scripted in the tapestry, so they go off script. They bury the cheek attack, then it reemerges later on because the king's like, this seems like a good idea, yes, and then it plot twist, top 10 anime betrayal, the tech gets used against them. So,
well, why would Urbosa because it says, I went through Hyrule Castle recently and I read Zelda's journals, and it said that Urbosa didn't immediately know how to use her divine beast. She had to learn it. So why would she just fake not knowing how, unless she just kept hidden from the entire world that she is over 10,000 years old and was there?
And they gotta,
and
it's kind of like the Sheikah kind of pretending that they don't know what happens in Skyward Sword.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is room to allow for that thought. Like, maybe she just pretended not to know, to just, simply feign ignorance, if you will, so that she would appear normal. I mean, if I was 10,000 years old and I had an inkling of what it means to not look suspicious, I would probably pretend to not know how to use something that was just recently found.
Well, wouldn't people take note to the fact that Urbosa has just not aged? I get it. Everyone that was alive, if she is 10,000 years old, everyone that was alive at that point is dead. But if Donald Trump just suddenly stopped aging, people would notice. Even if in 50 years, people would still remember that in 10,000 years, people would know that Donald Trump was the president of the United States and just stopped aging suddenly. I feel like there'd be record of that.
Potentially. But hey, look, let's look at.
There's no way that just nobody knows.
It's possible. Right. It's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying that, it's set in stone, but it's possible that maybe maybe she just simply pretended to not know, and she was either the original or maybe just a descendant, as it was mentioned earlier, of the first hero on the tapestry, and that's why she looks so similar to Link and why she basically has the basic kit of Link. I mean, everything that Link can do, everything that you can do in start a Link, when you start off, you can wield a short sword, you can wield a shield, you can shield bash, you can flurry rush, and you can do a spin attack. Those are the basic abilities that Link can perform, except that, she's had a lot more time to train her stuff, so she can do lightning spin attacks. And I guess that's where I want to leave it with, that what if, but yeah, maybe we will see the original character progression of Link going through and getting all the abilities of the champions.
I feel like they won't do that, though, because that's kind of a rehash of Breath of the Wild. It would, I don't know, I feel like it would seem like just a
saying
repeat
Nintendo
in a
would
way.
Copy paste their own games again?
No, definitely not. But I feel like maybe with the first Zelda trilogy and this Breath of the Wild thing that they seem to be taking real seriously. They wouldn't just be like, oh, copy paste Link get champion ability again and do that in 100 years after death.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to be basically like that.
I wouldn't put it
I
past them to
wouldn't.
copy paste somewhat, but not like the entire plot revolves around something Link did during the entire plot of Breath of the Wild 1.
I mean, I genuinely reckon, and this is probably going to be my last thing to say, but I genuinely reckon that we will be running around with max capped abilities, at least probably by like the first 5 missions in this game, because honestly, like it is kind of game breaking in Breath of the Wild if you have all those abilities. But by the time you get all those abilities, it's kind of end game. You're going after the Great Calamity, so
Yeah.
it would be a lot funner for the player to rampage Hyrule with max capped abilities. I genuinely think
Probably.
that's,
And I feel like that's what they're going to do, but I also feel like they'll leave all the champions specifically with their own abilities, because that also makes it a little less fun to play them if, their abilities and powers aren't as unique to them as they could be.
Well, I mean, that was not what was implied, though. What was implied was something a little different along the lines of just Link himself. It was just like some of the basic stuff he learns, like a flurry rush, or maybe
Yeah, that's true.
maybe like using the bow midair.
What I always thought, though, is that those would have to be like techniques that people just in general could learn, not champion specific abilities, because I always felt like the reason the champions were able to just pass their abilities to Link was because they was dead.
Oh, that's different. That's their own abilities. This is talking about Link's moveset, like
basic techniques.
Yeah, but that would
moveset,
just have to be like, I feel like then that would just have to be like skills that any, anyone with like a high potential could learn, not just specifically.
I don't think Urbosa can do that. That's the thing that
I don't think we've ever seen Urbosa use a bow.
That's the thing. What if Link proves himself that he can actually himself apart from the rest of the champions by doing some specific moves himself that evolved from the moves that he were taught?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the lightning quick dashing techniques of the Gerudo, the graceful shooting of the Rito mid-air. What did the Gorons do? They punch things.
The graceful brutality of the Gorons.
Oh, okay. I got it. He's mega strong. Like he can pick up the actual weapons, the giant weapons they use, and he can actually use them with great proficiency. Like that's a thought.
I just want to put out there real quick that when you said the graceful shooting of the Rito or something, I just pictured Rivali with a Glock.
Oh no.
That's honestly probably a good time to end it off, as this is probably about an hour and 20 minutes worth of content.
Probably said,
and we were like, let's keep it below an hour.
Right, it dragged on for beyond an hour.
The game.
I'm also okay with it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Switch Clicks podcast, and I would like to thank you both very much, Christafurr and Angelo, for joining us today in this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to both of Christafurr's channels, and all the shout-outs are in the description below.
Yeah, look, thanks so much for having me, guys. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun ranting with you guys. I feel like I rambled a bit myself, but I had a lot of fun. And for those of you who have watched and enjoyed, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on down.